Rightio. If you've taken the final drive off, you might as well have a go at the brakes. I've cleaned an almighty amount of crud off of these. You see there's still plenty of wear. These were put on about 11,000 k's ago. Very little wear, but very, very essential. Now, setting them up, here is the cam. Okay, you can obviously see the brake shoes moving outwards, and the cam is driven by this, which is connected to the brake rod. It's a rod, not a cable or hydraulics. So you can see that there's a tiny gap between this and the God knows what you'd call it, but you can see it. You don't need it named. And on each of the shoes at the cam end we have a little adjustable foot and a locking nut on each of them. Okay, so that adjusts the position of the shoe, basically like that. The locking nut is vital. Don't leave it loose. Okay, tighten it up. So you can see I've got the locking nut loose, and I can turn the foot, and as I turn the foot, you might or might not be able to see that little gap here closing. All right, so get that pretty close to in line, and then once you've put the final drive back together and hooked up this to the connecting rod, you can then adjust this end of the connecting rod. I have shown it in other videos, but here we go. So this is the bit I'm yakking about. That sits inside the bracket with one end through each of those holes, and then you adjust this, and the usual rules apply. So when you're adjusting your drum brakes, spin the wheel and listen for a little bit of a whisper, and if you can't hear the whisper, then adjust the shoes outwards a little bit. So shorten the rod effectively by turning that nut here, and then spin it again, so that you get it to a stage where you can actually hear the faintest of whispers. Okay, so that is the correct setting for your drum brake. Now obviously you may have to adjust it a little bit further, because don't forget this is also the parking brake, and if the parking brake isn't tight enough, your bike can and probably will take a wander. So yeah, always set this up right. It's not like you can say, oh yeah, it's just a bit of wear, you know, I just have to press a bit harder on the foot brake, but no. Set it up right and you won't come off because you're careering down a bloody mountain and can't stop. So yeah, anyway, that is pretty close on this, and then just wind in the lock nuts, and I think it's a 17mm spanner to tighten up the lock nuts And then Bob's your uncle, Robert's your mum's brother.